All right, well, I pretty much have the entire Walther PDP lineup here, and I spent all day yesterday shooting every single one of these guns at the range, and I got notes, so clearly I got a lot to say about it. Let's get into it. Hey folks, Gary here with Paramount Tactical. So, typically when I'm doing a review of a firearm, especially on the range, I'm not gonna do any research on that. And I do that intentionally. I think a firearm, I've been shooting guns a long time, should be able to take a gun out of a box, should be pretty intuitive. And I did just that, right? I took these firearms out here, all these different models, and really what we have here are 3 different series and several models in each of those series. So with that being said, what I wanted to do first is kind of cover all the things that are common to all, what is kind of unique to the PDP lineup in general, and then we're gonna break down those different series, those different models, and make sure that you know all the ins and outs of all those different things so that, if you determine that you wanna purchase one of these, you know exactly what you're getting and what to look for and which model and series, because it is confusing. It took me quite a bit to do some research to figure all this stuff out. So I did that legwork for you. But before we get into all that, I'm gonna throw out a quick disclaimer. Walther did not send me these weapons, and they did not send me these weapons to review or anything else. As a matter of fact, Walther is sponsoring a training event that I'm holding for another client. They sent these weapons to us. We are the FFL holder, and I was tasked with basically zeroing these, mounting these optics, zeroing these, and making sure that they were functional and useful. So number one, Walther doesn't even know I'm doing this review. I have no skin in the game whatsoever. Basically, I just had them in my possession. I was testing them already. We might as well put it on a video and give you a detailed review of these so that you can make some good decisions for you, right? That's what it's about. All right, so the first thing that you need to know is that all of these guns are specifically designed to be optic ready. They're actually designed around the optic, and there's some interesting features with that. As a matter of fact, I want you to take a look. So folks, you can notice on this frame right here, and all these guns have been cleared for you YouTube RSOs out there. But you can see on the slide right here that we have not only an optic cut, but it is actually a very deep and recessed optic cut into the slide, much deeper than normal. Now, the idea behind that, according to Walther, was the fact that they wanted these to be able to co-witness most optics out there. There are definitely some optics out there that they will co-witness with. With that being said, I think they missed the mark a little bit. I will show you this optic, and this is not a review of this or anything else, but this is a hollow sun, and this was actually designed for the PDP. And this particular hollow sun PDP sight actually fits down in there and mounts directly. And yes, you can actually co-witness the sights on that. With that being said, I don't know of too many other optics out there that you're going to be able to co-witness sights, because they're not going to be made for this particular cut in the slide, which is proprietary to Walther. So you're going to have to get an optics plate from them, which that's an interesting thing. And one of the lowest profile ones I had was an older RMR. And you can see once we get that RMR up there, folks, it is still not going to co-witness those sights. So that one won't co-witness. I also had a couple other hollow suns that had a pretty thin deck on the optic itself, and none of those worked either. So I think it was good in theory. I just don't think it really pans out the way that they planned it to. And of course, there is at least one optic out there, that hollow sun, that is built for it. I'll tell you right now, I'm not a big fan of this particular optic. It is nice that it fits directly in that it co-witnesses with regular height sights. But other than that, you basically have one button. You do have multiple reticles on there. The brightness control was a major issue out on the range. I'll just tell you that right now. Ultimately, there's just some better optics out there that are going to work better. You probably are going to have to get those, suppressor height sights, but I think that's a small price to pay to have a better optic overall. One item that I definitely think is worth mentioning, that I thought was cool that Walther is offering, is the fact that every time that you purchase one of their PDP pistols, you actually get one free adapter plate. All you need to do is purchase the pistol. You call them up on their 1-800 number on their website. I'm sure you got to provide some sort of proof of purchase, but then you tell them what optic that you're getting, and they're going to send you one of their adapter plates for free. And these are actually really good adapter plates. They're really well made. They actually do fit into the slide very well. It sits there, it's nice and snug, even without fasteners. It's just a high quality plate, it really is. So that was really cool of them to do that. I think that's something that most manufacturers need to start doing in general. All right, so the next item I want to talk about is their triggers. And it's kind of a big deal. And you actually can have the option of 2 different triggers depending on which model you buy. And we're going to talk about the performance duty trigger, which is your standard curve trigger, and this right here. All right, so that is their trigger, that performance duty trigger. And I want to read you their sales pitch on this. I think this is kind of important. It is the performance duty trigger, the brand new PDT, Performance Duty Triggers, Walther's new and improved trigger system, which has been achieved by shortening the length of travel and increasing the tactile definition of the trigger brake. The incredible result is a highly distinct, recognizable feel for repeatable accuracy that will maximize your confidence when you are ready to take the shot. This is the trigger that you want. So a lot of hype there, and I want to show you what I thought about this before I read any of this. These were my thoughts out on the range. The stock trigger in all of these are phenomenal, especially obviously on the, I forgot which one it is, but it's basically the competition pistol. That trigger is amazing. It's a flat trigger, trigger feels good. That thing has a super short, crisp reset, but even this one, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I definitely think that these are the best stock triggers on striker fire pistols that I've ever used by quite a bit. I don't think it's even close. So I thought long and hard about what I said as far as being probably the best stock trigger, especially for a striker fired weapon out there. I wanted to make sure I was tempted. I knew at the time that I was saying that I was going to think about that and figure out whether or not I wanted to pull that out of the video. And I'm going to stand by that. Folks, both of these triggers are absolutely the best triggers I've seen in a stock firearm outside of, a 1911 or a 2011, period. I don't even think it's close. As a matter of fact, I put Apex triggers in all of my M&Ps and a lot of times in my Glocks too. And that Apex flat trigger is absolutely amazing. I love them in those guns. It definitely reduces the travel. It has a much more crisp break, and the reset is very short, distinct, and tactile. And I might go as far as saying I think these are at least as good and maybe better. So the actual specs they have on this trigger travel for the performance duty, the curve trigger, is 0.28 inches. I'll buy that. It's listed at 5.6 pounds on the trigger pull. The dynamic performance trigger, which is what you're going to see in some of these match pistols, it's a flat trigger. And again, these guns have been cleared, but you have a flat trigger, and this one is even better. But you can see this, folks. We have a very short amount of take up, very crisp break, and a super short, distinct, crisp, tactile, audible reset. These things are they're just phenomenal triggers. You're just flat out not gonna have to upgrade these triggers. I just don't think you're gonna find anything better anyhow. It is worth noting that if you already have a PDP or a PPQ that doesn't have the dynamic performance trigger in it, you can purchase that separately for 179 bucks. So that trigger is available regardless of what model. Some of these models come with it. I think those models are definitely worth looking into. Another feature you're gonna find on all these pistols that Walther is extremely proud of. So proud of, in fact, that they made up their own word for it. And it's all over their website, but that is their Superterrain Serrations. Normally, when you see serrations on a slide, it's relieved, right? It's cut into the slide. What you're gonna notice that's different on these serrations is the fact that all the material around the serrations has been relieved. So the slide itself is actually smaller than the serrations. So they're actually standing proud of the slide. So that gives you deeper cuts. It just gives you a lot of material to grab onto. Whether you're grabbing back here, you can actually grab onto the serrations behind and below the actual optic, or if you're going up front, whichever way, there's plenty of purchase on all parts of the slide. So, it seemed a little gimmicky, but I will say that they are definitely much more effective than most serrations and most guns. So, I'll give them their due on that. It is what it is. And at first I didn't like them, but I'll tell you, they've kind of grown on me a little bit. I do like them a little bit more. When I first saw this gun, I'll be honest with you folks, two things. Number one, I kind of have a bias against Walther. My very first semi-automatic pistol that I ever purchased was a Walther P99. The first pistol that I learned to hate was that Walther P99. Wasn't a big fan of that at all. There's some design flaws to say the least. And then a buddy of mine was raving about the PPQ. So we went to the range, I shot his PPQ. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. So when I saw this pistol, I saw what I kind of considered kind of an over-stylized slide and frame. I was just very cynical. I was very cynical to say the least. I have changed my thoughts on most of this stuff. So, and we'll get more into that. So the Superterrain Serrations, Superterrain, write that down. It's a little bit of hype going on there, but at the same time, they're actually they're more usable than I thought they were. And I think there's a lot of utility there. The Performance Duty Texture, another one of their keywords there. What this is comprised of is, I don't know if you want to call it tetrahedron stippling, chinking, checkering, whatever they want to call it. It's actually a very effective grip surface. I actually like this a lot, especially once you start shooting it. It does. It doesn't feel abrasive. It doesn't feel rough, but I'll tell you, it really does lock in your hand. And the only thing I can tell you is you got to try that and shoot it yourself to see what I'm talking about. I don't think this is going to rub you raw or anything like that if you're carrying this concealed, but it is very, very effective. And whatever they did to design it, you can feel it really kind of bite into your hand, and not in a bad way, in a very good, secure, it just provides a really good grip. I like the texturing on the grip overall. Even the way that it's formed, it feels good. It's not overdone, doesn't feel overly aggressive. You definitely feel it staying put in your hand. I really like the grip in it. Yeah, I just really like the texture that they chose to go with this and the overall kind of ergonomics of this. I'm digging them, man. I'm digging them. Another one of the big sales pitch, and there's kind of a lot of hype around on their website and some of their marketing material, is the PDP Red Dot Ergonomics. So what they're specifically talking about is, number one, the grip angle. The grip angle is more designed to naturally have a good grip and bring that optic into your line of sight easier, to help you find the dot, essentially, right? You should be doing that anyhow. And on top of that, what we have here is this kind of a hook down here at the bottom of the grip that this does work. Again, it's a lot of hype. I wish they would have understated some of these things, because it starts feeling a little sales pitchy, but so far everything they've said has been pretty effective. I'm buying into it. You do find that dot a lot easier. The grip angle is good. I do like the fact that we have this piece, this hook piece down here that does make you, when you clench down with your pinky, it does drive the gun down forward a little bit more. So it brings that red dot right into your line of sight every single time. And it just feels natural. A lot of times when you're putting a red dot on a Glock or an MP or whatever else, it takes a lot of repetitions to get, it's a new grip angle. It really is. You're driving that gun down just a little bit more. It feels different. It looks different because it is different. It's very clear to me that everything about this gun, the frame, the slide, and how everything integrates into it, was designed around the use of a red dot optic. That's a much different approach than all the other manufacturers out there. They're taking their standard design, they're having you put a red dot optic on it, and then they make you adapt to the gun and now an optic on there. But the fact of the matter is, I can just tell you objectively that this gun just naturally and more intuitively helps you point that optic and acquire that optic better than any other gun that I've seen. So I think they were really smart with the design. They overhyped it a little, but I think it is very effective. And as a matter of fact, I think it's the most intuitive pistol out there for a red dot. I really do.
All right, so now let's talk about modularity. And yes, this is future Gary making a correction because I got some things wrong, and I have a responsibility to make sure that we're getting things right, not only for you, the viewer, but also to be fair to any company that we're reviewing their products with. Now, on modularity, their website says there's 2 different frame sizes and 3 different lengths of slides available. And any slide length can fit on any frame, even if it's not a factory offering. Now, in the original video, I had a real problem getting these slides to interchange from one frame to another, and Walther was nice enough to actually leave this comment for clarification right here. So as they clarified, these are interchangeable and they're modular in that we can change out slides within the series. So within the PDP standard polymer series, within the steel frame, and I only have one model and one barrel length of the F series. But once I realized that, and looking back at the footage, I was trying to mainly interchange from the PDP polymer over to the steel frame. So I did want to refilm this and get the video right, even if I have to pull it down and put up another one. That's what we're going to do every single time. So right here we have the PDP polymer 5-inch match. We have a 4.5 full size, and then we have a 4-inch compact. And I will show you that this does indeed work. You know, we can take this 5-inch match slide and put it on, as long as it's in the same series, these will interchange. So as you can see right here, we now have the 5-inch match slide on the 4-inch compact frame. So this does work as long as you're staying within the series. The same thing over here. We have the steel frame compact, and we're gonna take the steel frame match 5-inch, and you can see that that does indeed work. And when it comes to putting the shorter slides on the longer frames, it does work. But now you have a dust cover. This is not optimal, right? This is not something that you would want to do, but it does work. But having the ability to put a larger slide on a smaller frame is cool, and I do think they've done a good job creating an entire ecosystem. But I did want to correct my mistake on that. It is my responsibility, especially to you, the viewer, to get that information right. And we're gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna make mistakes sometimes, but if that happens, I'm also gonna make sure that we get it right. It's also our responsibility to be fair to the companies that we're reviewing their products as well. I am going to be critical. That's my job. I'm looking for flaws. That's what we do on this channel. That's what I do. And I only carry gear that we believe in, right? You've only heard me mention a couple of different pistol brands throughout this. And that's because, I'll say this, it's not because I haven't tested other brands. I'm very careful about what brands that we endorse, that we put into our shop. And I've tested all those other pistols out there. For one reason or another, I think that M&P, Glock, and now Walther, we are carrying these guns. I've had some more experience with them. They've continued to impress me. And you can listen to my conclusion at the end of this overall. But these are solid guns. And you know, coming from special operations, that's how I look at this. Is this a duty pistol? Would I take this to combat, or whatever piece of gear that is? So that's where we are. We are carrying this. We're very happy to do so. I've been very impressed with this, and it's hard to impress me, especially on new guns. You know, there's constantly new gear coming out. We're constantly testing new firearms, new accessories, all those things, and 98% of it you're never gonna hear about because it doesn't make the cut. We're not gonna promote it. I don't believe in issuing negative reviews. I'm not here to beat up on a company, but if you don't hear about it, doesn't mean I haven't tested it. We just don't think it cut the mustard. And yeah, so anyways, enjoy the rest of the video.
By the way, if you like content like this, make sure you like, subscribe, throw a comment down below. That always helps us out. And folks, another thing I'm gonna tell you is if you support and defend the Second Amendment, stop watching YouTube. We're gonna continue to put content out on YouTube. We want you to like, subscribe, share this information, but we've been moving all of our information or slowly moving over to Rumble. For now, Rumble is a free speech platform. YouTube is not a friend of the Second Amendment. They're not a friend of the First Amendment. If you support and defend the Second Amendment, I would ask you to stop watching YouTube in general. We do want you to share this content. We do want you to like, subscribe. That being said, when you see us release a new video, go over to Rumble. Rumble's a little clunky right now, but so was YouTube back in the day. Hopefully they grow, they get more user-friendly, and they continue to be, friendly to the Second Amendment, and they're not censoring the way that YouTube is. Also, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, folks, we have our Dangerous Liberty podcast. It's a live podcast right here on YouTube and Rumble and Facebook. We want you to join in on the conversation. We talk about guns, gear, training, politics. We have special guests on all the time. So make sure you come join in on the conversation. You get to ask questions. We read your comments. It's a lot of fun, and we want you to be part of this community. So that's enough of the self-promotion, but we'll see you Wednesday. All right, so with the PDP lineup, the thing that you need to understand is that there are 3 different series. All right, you have the PDP, then you have the steel frame series, and then you have the F series. And it took me some digging to figure out what the difference was, mainly between the F series and the standard one, and we'll talk about that. So with the PDP compact lineup, there's 3 different options there. You get the PDP compact 4-inch, which is 4-inch barrel, 15 rounds, the 5-inch barrel, 15 rounds, and then there's also the PDP Pro SD compact, 4.6 inch. So with any of the PDP Pro series, what you're getting is a flared mag well, the performance trigger, and the threaded barrel. On the PDP full size, again, 18 rounds with those, you're getting a 4-inch barrel, a 4.5-inch barrel, 5-inch barrel, the match 5-inch barrel, and the PDP Pro 5.1 inch. All right, folks, so right here we have the PDP 4.5 inch. So this is a 4.5 inch barrel. Overall, great looking gun, about the size of a Glock 17. A little chunkier, a little thicker, These do come with two 18-round magazines, so check it out. Same drill, we'll just work ourselves around and just barricade a little bit. This is the 5-inch match. You're actually getting that performance trigger, that flared mag well, and you are getting a polymer frame. This is a great gun. Earlier, I was reading, and I haven't even checked this yet, but they said that basically all of the triggers had a 5.6 pound trigger pull. Folks, I'll tell you right now, that is
bullshit. 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 Bullshit.
not a single one of these triggers has a 5.6 pound trigger pull. So we'll just grab one of these performance duty ones. We got this one is clear. All right, that one was 4 pounds even. Go ahead and get another one. 4 pounds, 3.2 ounces. All right, let's do that again. We'll get one more out of it. All right, that was 3 pounds, 15 ounces. So again, right at 4 pounds. So I knew from the get-go, there was not a single one of these, and I shot every single model. Some of these are different colors. I didn't shoot all the different colors, but I shot every single, I put probably 150 to 200 rounds through every single one of these guns. Not a single one of these guns had a 5.6 pound trigger pull. Now here is one of these with the performance triggers. Let's try that. Let's just clear that out. Get right where I would put my, yeah, 3 pounds, 15 ounces. All right, so again, not a single one of these is gonna have 5 pound trigger pull. And actually I think that's a great thing, to be honest with you. Man, I do love that trigger though. It's a good one. All right, so the other thing I wanted to show you folks was the difference in weight. And these have 2 different optics on there, but it's gonna be negligible in difference. All right, so right here we have the polymer PDP match, the standard PDP, not the steel frame. And we got 1.1 pound, 9.8 ounces. All right, and folks, here's the steel frame. 2 pounds, 7.9 ounces. Folks, there's a huge difference between the steel frame and that. And as a matter of fact, why don't you watch this video and I will show you the difference on those two. All right, so the gun that I have in my hand is actually the Walther PDP 5.0 match polymer. So this is the polymer version of this gun that I have in my holster, which is the steel frame 5.0 match steel frame. I shot this earlier. I was super impressed with this steel frame pistol. And I'll be honest with you, generally speaking, I'm liking their steel frame pistols a little bit more than the polymer ones. Yeah, they're heavier, but again, that mitigates recoil. One of the things I really liked about this is that it just shot so flat. And I'll tell you, when you pick them both up in your hands, folks, this feels like a very expensive 2011. That's what it feels like. And again, it is because it is a steel frame. And I don't even know what the MSRP is between the two, but obviously I bet the steel frame costs a little bit more. But I'm gonna shoot the 5.0 polymer match right now. Both of these have the exact same features. They both have a flared mag well. Both of them are a 5-inch barrel. And then they also have this flat trigger, which I really, really like. I hope they have this exact trigger available in all of them. I doubt they do, but that would be really nice if they did. I put the Apex flat triggers in all my handguns, and I like the fact that they are doing the exact same thing in this match version of their pistol. So anyways, this is the polymer version. Gonna be a little bit lighter. Let's shoot it and test it out and see where we're at. Yeah, folks, I'm getting ready to shoot the steel one just so I have a side-by-side comparison. But I definitely feel the recoil. I feel more muzzle flip with this. It's not bad. It's better than most pistols out there, but compared to the steel frame one, there's almost no comparison. All right, so now what I'm actually gonna do is shoot the steel frame one. I wanted to feel what they felt like. I wanted to feel what they felt like back to back. So now we have the steel frame one, and let's see how this runs. Folks, the difference is unbelievable. This gun shoots so freaking flat that it is, man, I like this gun a lot. I'll just put it that way. This gun is probably one of the most impressive guns that I've ever tested, to be honest with you. I love the way this feels. It really does. It shoots like a 2011. That's what it feels like. I'm gonna collect my thoughts on this, and I will see you back at the studio. All right, so I will just tell you right now, I love this gun. It really does feel like a premium 2011 gun. It shoots like it. It shoots ridiculously flat. You can't outshoot this gun. If you have any bit of grip strength and a little bit of recoil management, you're going to stay on target with this gun. It just runs, man. This thing's like a sewing machine. And honestly, you know, the standard PDP does too. It's really good. It is better than a Glock. It's better than an M&P. And I hate to even say that, but I'm telling you, I like the way that the grip angle is. It just runs. It runs really well. If I had never touched the steel frame one, I'd be all goo-gooed over this one right here. But once you shoot that steel frame one, it's hard to go back to this. If you buy this pistol, you'll be buying a great pistol. Do yourself a favor. If anyone comes up and says, hey, come shoot this steel frame one, don't do it, folks. You're gonna end up spending, you know, I think they're almost $2,000 for the steel frame match pistols. You know, that steel frame, I'm really impressed with it. Yeah, it's a little bit heavier, and we'll talk about the 4-inch steel frame in just a moment as well. Color that's available in all these guns are black, two-tone green, two-tone gray, two-tone tan. That's in the polymer versions. and the steel frame versions, you're only gonna get the black. Folks, this is an F-Series 3.5-inch gun. It's actually a really nice gun. I like everything about it. I didn't know, as a matter of fact, before I did the research and I shot this, I didn't know that there was a difference between this and the standard PDP. It took me a while. I was like, what is this F-Series on their website? And I figured it out. And the only reason that you can even know that is that right here on the frame, right there, it'll say F-Series. And these F-Series are basically marketed to and designed for women. We have a reduced circumference on the grip. These F-Series come with what is clearly the smaller backstrap on this already, but so the grip is smaller. Now that I know that, it does feel a little bit different. I can tell the difference, but if you hadn't told me, I wouldn't have thought anything of it. Still feels really good whether you're a man or a woman. The other thing that they have done is apparently they have reduced the recoil spring on this so that it's easier to manipulate. I'm not sure that, you know, on one of these other ones, this is a 4-inch, that's a 3.5. I don't know that I noticed a huge difference. I mean, maybe a little bit. I don't know. All right, folks, so right here we have the PDP 3.5-inch. A great little carry gun. I mean, it's a little chunky, it's a little thick. But anyways, what we're gonna do right now, because it is a concealed carry gun, we're gonna work some cover, work some barricade here. And what I do like about this is still a 15+1. So anyways, let's do some shoot. We got a full size and a reduced dipstick about 15 yards away from this piece of cover. All right, so little gun, all hits right there on both the full size and the reduced dipstick at 15 yards. Impressive little gun. It shoots like a full size gun. This is the first time I've shot it. You guys saw it right here. So I like it, man. I'm liking this line of pistols more than I thought they were. I thought the styling was a little overdone at first. That's growing on me. The shootability, the triggers, the stock trigger in all of these are phenomenal, especially the competition pistol. That trigger is amazing. It's a flat trigger. Trigger feels good. That thing has a super short, crisp reset. But even this one, but all these triggers, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I definitely think that these are the best stock triggers on striker fire pistols that I've ever used by quite a bit. I don't think it's even close. So again, these guns are growing on me for sure. So if you want the compact frame, which is going to give you 15 plus rounds, and you'd rather the 3.5 versus the 4-inch, I think this is an excellent choice regardless of what you got between your legs. All right, so while we're talking about compact guns, let's go ahead and talk about the steel frame 4-inch, and here it is on the range. All right, folks, so what we have here is actually the PDP 4.0 4-inch barrel, but it's the steel frame. When you compare this to the 4.0 polymer or the 5.0 match steel frame versus the polymer, folks, the weight on this is significant, like more than you expect. You go to pick up this gun, you're like, wow, that thing is fairly stout when it comes to the overall weight of this. So these are heavier. With that being said, I kind of like the idea of a smaller gun being steel frame for that extra weight. So that's just going to be that much more, you're going to be able to control that recoil a little bit more. It's going to reduce the recoil a little bit more. Same thing, just kind of work some barricades, shoot some steel, have some fun here. All right, right. Oh yeah. Folks, I just shot the 4.5 inch. This is the 4.0, but it's steel frame. Folks, the difference in this in recoil management and recoil reduction is huge. I actually like this a lot better. You can shoot it faster, you can shoot it more accurately. Just within, that was like 5 rounds that I shot, right? So huge difference overall as far as the felt recoil. All right. Trigger on this one feels slightly different. It's a longer reset. That's what it is. Then the 4.5 that is shot. Some of the other ones that I shot too. The reset. It's a little bit longer. Yeah, the reset's a little bit longer on this one. I don't know if this is unique. It's not bad at all. It's just different than everything else I've been shooting. So there was a couple times where I could tell I was getting ready to break another shot, and I knew I didn't have a full reset. So I let it back out, got the reset, and then cracked the shot. And I don't know if that's unique to this particular pistol or if it's unique to the steel frame 4.0s in general. Haven't tested this yet, but the slides on these look thicker than the Glock versus an M&P. As a matter of fact, let me test that real quick. All right, so we got a Glock 45 and we have a Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0. This is a chunky little guy. All right, so right there we got 1.108. That's what we have on the PDP. And on the Glock, we have basically 1 inch, right? Hopefully you guys can see that. And then with the M&P, our slide is 1.02. So that's still 8/100ths thinner than the PDP. You know, that's important to know because if you're going to conceal carry, I think the thickness of the frame of the slide is more important than necessarily the length of the grip or even the barrel itself. Those things are pretty manageable. Start getting thick, that's when it's a little tougher to conceal. So I think that's good information to have. So with that being said, folks, I will tell you 90% of the time, 95% of the time, I would prefer this 1 pound heavier steel frame gun. You have a good holster. These steel frame ones just shoot so freaking flat. It just feels good. It just is good. I got nothing bad to say about them. As a matter of fact, I will be buying a couple of these PDPs. I'm definitely going to be getting a steel frame 4-inch and a steel frame 5-inch match. I'm digging those Pro Series ones as well. So for the steel frames, just to be complete, you can actually get the compact 4-inch, which is what we have here. You can get a full-size steel frame, so a 4-inch, but with an 18 round mag. That is available as well as the match 5-inch steel frame as well. So those are all available. All right, well, I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover. So if you came to this channel and you watched this video and you wanted to know what I thought about it, whether or not I recommended the PDP line, any of them, the answer is yes, I do. They are shockingly good. I just, I think they surprised me, to be honest with you. Oh, one thing I did want to mention, a couple things actually that I forgot to mention. Number one, the magazines. These magazines are really good. They're steel. This is the 15 round one, and this is the 18 round one. That's what they look like. Another cool thing that I saw that I thought was actually worth mentioning, I wanted to show you. I know this is kind of dumb, but little things like this I like. So these are the cases that they come in, right? What I like about this is they stack like freaking Legos. You guys know how it is to have, most of us keep our gun cases, even though we never use them, just in case we want to sell the gun or whatever else. I really like the fact, I just thought that was cool. And we sell guns, we always have lots of those cases around, and the fact that those actually stack and don't slip and slide and everything else, I think is actually really cool. So, I don't know. Number one, yes, I definitely recommend these guns any day of the week. I've been trying to give a rating. All right, this is completely a subjective, but as objective as I possibly can be on this. If I was to rate the M&P and Glock, personally, I think they're about even on those. Actually, I'll take that back. I think Glock right out of the box is better than the M&P 2.0. I don't like the triggers on those until you I would basically put the M&P at 8 out of 10. You put an flat Apex trigger in it, I put it at 8.5. I think Glock, reliability, durability, decent ergonomics. I think the ergonomics on the M&P are a little bit better. I will give it an 8.5 right out of the box. I hate the sights on those, but I think out of the box, 8.5, M&P 2.0, out of the box, 8, put an Apex trigger on it, it's 8.5. Folks, I will say the steel frame ones, I don't mind the weight. Some of you are going to disagree with me. I don't mind the weight on this, but I think for a striker fire gun, I think the steel frame ones are a 9.5. Right out of the box. I mean, there's just nothing that you need to do with this. They shoot really well. They point really well, especially if you're going to put a red dot on there. I just think this is the best option on the market right now of anything that I've tested. And, we have a gun store. I constantly have guns coming in and out of there. I get access to a lot of guns. I don't think there's anything that I haven't tested. Been really, as far as a striker fire gun, I don't think there's anything better. Don't start lighting me up about Canic and all of those stuff. Those are decent. They're not these. As far as the polymer one, I'll give them a 9. They're really good, folks. They're really good. And again, if you never shot that steel frame one and you shot one of these, I think objectively speaking, 95 people out of 100 would say that these shoot better. They feel better. They perform. I can't say about longevity, right? We don't have enough rounds for these. But outside of that, I think 95% of the population would say objectively these are better than the M&P and the Glock, especially once you put a dot on these. I'm telling you, folks, as soon as you put that gun up, it just naturally points. So if you're struggling with a red dot, or you're planning to transition from iron sights to a red dot, which I recommend to everybody, it's probably a really good pistol to pick up. So I think if you pick up one of these, that's better than buying a MOS Glock or anything like that. And we're a Glock dealer. I love Glock. I love M&Ps. All those have their places. I'm not going to get rid of mine or anything like that. But I think just objectively speaking, and I have no ties to Walther whatsoever. So I think, objectively speaking, these are better. And we're definitely going to be getting some in and selling them just like all the other guns we do, because I think they're worth selling. And we only carry stuff that we've personally tested and we believe in. Well, all right, I hope you found that helpful and informative. I'm sure I left some stuff out. And if there's any questions that I didn't answer for you, make sure you leave those down in the comments below. I'll make sure I get to those. And while Guns and Gear is great, what we're really about is training. So make sure you go to ParamountTactical.com. Go check out our upcoming training schedule. We'd love to have you out. We'd love to meet you in person. We have tactical carbine courses, long range courses, handgun courses, medical courses, driving courses, low light courses, no light courses. We have our XP Long Range Academy courses coming coming up, and we're really excited about launching those here in 2024. And for all your gear needs, make sure you go to ParamountTactical.com, because we only carry gear that we've personally tested and we believe in, and you can buy with confidence. But until next time, stay armed, stay ready. We'll talk to you soon.